Hello. Hey there. Hello. Hello. My hair's just all crazy and weird. Hello. 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 It's weird. I'm always bugged. And it's like, why do I have long hair? Well, I call it because, I don't know if I've explained why I like. There's actually it's not just like an aesthetic thing. Like it's actually like just a practical reason for why I like having my hair long. Not a practical comfort reason. Um, I don't know if I brought it up before. I probably have at some point, but I like having long hair because I don't like feeling like wind and other stuff on the nape of my neck. It, it's always been something that's bugged me ever since I was like younger, and long hair basically makes it so that it doesn't happen. So like when I would try to go to sleep, I used to like have to put my blanket all the way up to like the back of my neck because something about having my neck exposed while I was sleeping made me uncomfortable as a kid. And so yeah, it's partially a comfort thing to have the long hair because there's always like something kind of covering my neck um, from potential alien invasion. That's probably what I was worried about as a kid. But having long hair can be really fucking annoying sometimes. Um, but I mean, I guess it's more in line with my aesthetics, so it works out. Uh, so welcome, everybody that's here already. I have a kind of a loose topic in mind to discuss today, and it might be something that might prove more interesting. Um, like if say people right now that watch my channel, whether it's live or most of the people that do watch it as a VOD later. Um, and thank you for watching it. And thank you for watching most of it too, because I saw the analytics and you guys watch a pretty good chunk on average of the live stream when you check out the VOD. But and I know the quality of my streams is erratic at best, because it really comes down to like what mood and what headspace I'm in. Also, how many people actually like interact with what it is I'm talking about, which is not super often, but it just, like I said, it varies. So very inconsistent. Um, anyway, the topic is, I guess, what is oftentimes labeled as brain rot. I find it as somebody that's like 40 years old, right, and ADHD. Um, I a while back, right, I had been seeing these sort of trends, and didn't have before it like had a name, I guess, before people started referring to it as a brain rot or whatever. And and then even when that word started coming up, it was like still just kind of an internet thing, right? And then it became something that apparently now there's like a goddamn Walmart commercial with all this sort of stuff, right? A lot of that language. And I what I've been wondering is like what makes it stand out, like compared to like previous generations' claims of the downfall of society and the youth or whatever because of the TV or, well, I mean, at one point the book, the fiction book, the video games, so on and so forth. And I was just thinking, like, what makes it so different? Because I mean, if you think about it, right, people are saying, well, oh look, it's fucking with our attention spans and all this sort of stuff, and yeah, I can see why there's an argument to be had there, but the meme for something like brain rot, or at least when it started getting talked about, is like what TikTok videos with Family Guy in one corner, subway riders or surfers or whatever the hell it's called, and another like a chat over here, and like somebody like doing sensory videos, like all in the same goddamn window, right? And it's just funny because as someone with ADHD, you would think, oh, that's wow. I tried to watch like 10 minutes straight of something like that. Like I found examples of actual stuff like that, and um, I just found it incredibly boring, because nothing on the screen was interesting. Um, but my eyes were naturally drawn to like weird colors and whatever. But there was just nothing there to process information. And then I started thinking, wait, people don't actually watch this stuff, right? This is like a meme. This is satirical. What entertainment value would you get um, out of just looking at this for more than 10 seconds? So, I mean, outside of the fact that it's funny, it's like a commentary on how absolutely fucked a lot of people's attention spans have become. Outside of that, I don't see why it would be content that would captivate anyone but maybe like a 3-year-old. And so then I started digging more, and I'm like, okay, so what is the actual like content that has created these this a lot of this like change in language and behavior amongst people that are generally even my oldest daughter's age. She's 13. So it's funny because like the only impact she seems to have had with this, and she grew up Roblox player and Animu and all that kind of stuff, and of course we got her into like physical book reading, like actual book reading, and she enjoys literature quite a bit. She likes to draw and do art and all that. So luckily she's got like a more eclectic taste. But yeah, she'll like, she says that stuff is funny because it's kind of like ironically funny, that it's like a just complete like it's just stupid. Like she acknowledges that it's stupid, but that's what kind of makes it humorous to occasionally use maybe some of that lingo, and of course if I use any of it, it's like incredibly cringe because I'm dad and I'm old and I shouldn't be saying anything like that. And I had even told her, I'm like, a lot of these words, like, they're just shorthand for like specific concepts, or sometimes it could be a complicated idea depending on what it is you're discussing. And so is it my thought is it the quality of the brain rot that is the problem? Because a lot of things have been called brain rot for many decades, centuries even. They'll say, don't do this, it'll rot your brain. That's the same thing, right? It's the idea that some new form of media, some new form of interacting with an art form is going to damage your mind, piety, self-respect, and so on and so forth, right? It kind of removes like the agency of the people that are deciding to take part in it, right? Which is kind of strange to me. And I'm wondering, you guys, right? You mostly viewers being the schizoids and such, and neurodivergents that watch it. What are your feelings on this supposed phenomena? What are your thoughts? Is it something? Because I see everything from people talking about it like it's the end of civilization, the beginning of the end, to other people thinking, oh, it's just a stupid trend, it's going to go away like any other, to other people arguing with other people about how it's not just a trend, it's a symptom of a this and that, and some people think it's like a psyop and intentional, and this and that, and you have all these conversations on everything from Reddit to Chan boards and whatever, and of course, like, at my age, most people would just be like, "Oh, this is just like a boomer that became like terminally online during the the pre-Gamergate years or some shit." Um, so I don't understand the particular cause for concern. Because I know my mother used to think that video games and the amount of video games I play were rotting my brain or whatever, right? And I used to play some pretty like crazy, like stimulation, overstimulation type video games. Like, have you ever tried playing some bullet hell games? That stuff's just, I mean, it's just shit flying everywhere and dodging it and colors and like techno and fucking um but maybe because that was a piece of art that you were actually interacting with, and it had like a purpose, and it challenged your thinking and your motor skills, and something like like 5 YouTube poops essentially playing at the same time isn't doing any of that, but gathering your attention. Is that the main problem? I wonder if any of you guys know what I'm even talking about. Maybe it's just something that only a nutcase like me would be interested in wanting to parse out. I watched a couple of like breakdowns of what it stemmed from, language, everything else. I'm actually quite familiar with it in many ways because, like I said, I'm online a lot, and I just kind of adapt to whatever novelty appears before me, and that's mostly the ADHD. Oh, hey, Shanna. Just talking about this idea, these concerns, for what is termed online as it being brain rot. And I think the reason I wanted to talk about it especially is because it seems to be integrating itself into, I guess, mainstream corpo stuff, with like Walmart having the associated words to such things. Generally, unless it's joking, they generally prefer just to. Some of them are funny, but I don't know. I wouldn't feel correct. But typing them I can handle. But is it like a even when I was the age of like when I was 13, 14, I was always pretty disconnected or not intrigued by the trends and interests that were kind of spreading throughout. I guess hold on, my little one. Alright, so, sorry, that's my usual, anybody that watches me knows that, like, at least sometime within the first 30 to 40 minutes, my little 4-year-old comes in, has to say goodnight and dance around, and I have to, like, get her out of here after a little bit. Duck, I've been curious about the definition of brain rot as it is being used. I've been using similar terms for a while, but I feel like my interpretation is different. More than likely. When but that term of things, media, and technology and its involvement in your life, like, it's always been associated, or new forms of media have always been associated with the rotting of the brain, right? I usually chalked it up to the kind of common human fear of the unknown, right? Things that they aren't familiar with, change. Is scary because it's that whole, like, knowing you can't adapt to the change and being frightened by that, or being overwhelmed by the idea of having to adapt to a very massive and seemingly sudden change. I don't really consider this to be all that sudden, at least not at the rate that I often fucking generate thoughts about whatever bullshit's in my brain. One of the things that I've heard is that brain rot is the result of the human mind not being, like, capable of keeping up with the consequences of social media, stuff like that. I don't believe that. I might have believed that like years ago, but especially now, I think about it and I just go, no. You're underestimating the human brain. You're underestimating the neuroplasticity of the human brain and what it's actually very much capable of adapting to and changing with as the environment itself alters. Like, sorry, I'm over the volume there. People really fucking underestimate the human brain, human mind. I think it's fairly easy to adapt to sudden changes to in technological advancement. I don't see how. I mean, I know I could say, well, I don't have too much of a problem, right? And because, like, the key is to learn enough, and then merely fine-tune whatever available skills you have by connecting to those who have information of the upcoming changes that are happening, and those that grew up within those changes, and also keeping track of said changes, even on a casual level. So this idea that, like, what is essentially, at least currently, the most potent little processing unit, most affordable and portable processing unit, known as the human brain, is incapable somehow of being able to keep up. I think what the human brain is unable to keep up with is the emotional fluctuation that sudden change causes, right? The fears that sudden change and alterations to human behavior that seem to be exponentially growing from generation to generation. That fear can cause a lot of destruction. But the change itself, I don't know. I don't know if I believe that this is the end times. We're headed toward the ultimate Roman civilization collapse. They even understand the cost of social and behavioral manipulation that can be deployed on the internet. I think the underlying issue is that underlying issue that's unique to this generation's brain rot is the overstimulation leading to ADHD-like symptoms in children that wouldn't otherwise be ADHD. I don't know. I mean, that hasn't been. It's not. There's nothing conclusive about that, right? I guess it's the reduction of attention span, but I don't know. Like, I know plenty of people that didn't grow up in such an environment that aren't ADHD who have relatively short attention spans to begin with, even within the fields or the pre-internet world that they were raised under. So, it's kind of funny because a lot of, I guess, what would be considered brain rot content is it's just, I see it as nothing particularly dangerous. I just see it as like just it's just shit. It's just trash. It's not. I mean, if anything, I mean, um, network television and a variety of types of TV shows, though weren't saturated with overstimulation. I would assume. I mean, I would say that they cause an even more damaging amount of brain rot. It's just more slow and insidious. Silly YouTube videos aren't a deep state alien reptile psyop. Reptilian, sir. Right? But we do need to be aware sometime that we eat online lest we become it. I mean, yeah, but that's again, that's what people used to say about Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, it might seem like a game about fairies and dwarves, but it opens the gates to the occult. Blah blah blah. So, I don't know. I just wonder how many of the people that talk like this, this brain rot speech, how many of the people that participate in this, how many of these teenagers are actually quite aware of the ridiculousness of what they're doing and saying, and merely do it and say it because it's just a language or a shorthand language, a linguistic style that ultimately allows their words to be obfuscated with what is seemingly just nonsense, and weird word association, wordplay. Like a lot of these terms, okay, well, I mean, like Riz, it's just a uh, not a compo, like a collage of concepts fit into a stupid sounding word, right? And a lot of the time is the words, it's just like I said, it's like an association thing, right? And it can be used like in 10 different manners, and all ultimately be understood regardless of it being a single word. I think a really good example of I guess a proto, would it be a proto brain rot word that's been around for decades and decades, is the word cool. Cool is a stupid word, yet everyone uses it. No one seems to have a problem. So that's cool. That's cool. It's been used for decades. I don't see it dying anytime soon. In fact, the people that there's the people that are supposedly using all this brain rot language, they're still occasionally dropping the classic cool. In my case, D&D opened the doors to the occult or the esoteric in 30 plus years after the fact. The slowest bad influence in history. Yeah. You got brain rotted by Dungeons and Dragons like 30 years later. Crazy. This is just faster, I guess. But yeah. I don't like, cool is a brain rot word because it is, well, it doesn't make any sense, right? Literally. Like, what the word is supposed to be used for and what's referring to, like, definition wise. Yet it feels pretty intuitive, and it's commonly used. Same thing with sucks. That sucks. But the sucks has not been around as long as cool. Look up the history of cool. It's been around for a bit, and it hasn't really changed too much in context. And it's a single word that replaces discussion. It replaces description. Which is, I mean, I guess its own form of brain rot. Because then somebody could say, yeah, that movie was cool. And it's okay. what does that statement even mean? You liked it? Um, there's something subjectively positive about it in some like universal way. Like, what the fuck does that mean? That was a cool thing. I have no problem with the word, and I'm not going to be like, yeah, that's a dumb word, you shouldn't use it, fucking. And because I use it, because I see it as a collection of concepts being like symbols being just smashed into like a unit that means a variety of things. It prompts further. It doesn't just cut discussion down. It could, but it could also prompt further discussion. Why did you think it was cool? Right? Even that sentence alone is like kind of confusing. Why did you think it was cool? Well, if we don't know what that individual's definition of cool or something being cool is, then that follow-up in and of itself is kind of weird. Doesn't make too much sense. What's cool? Like, I know this one's just become like a pointless meme at this point, but the word skibbity is not just in association to the meme and the Gmod man, which I find amusing that there's the Gmod man toilet skibbity bullshit, but like it's being like, it was something that was being like laughed about by people that have never even played Half-Life games. That's how long fucking Valve hasn't produced jack shit. Alex, I think, was the last thing, and that's shit. I don't give a fuck about virtual reality games right now. Or those kinds of games, at least not yet. They're not at the point where I'm interested. But yeah, something like that. The word skippity, that's like, god damn, there's so many ways it could be used. Positively, negatively. Even cool can't be used in both positive and negative. I mean, you could with sarcasm, I guess. Like, you could say, yeah, that was really cool, man. But it's still implying it's sarcasm. So the word itself cannot be used generally to imply that something was lame, shitty, or what have you. So some of these words just pack in even more, including words that already pack things in. So it's just more condensed and condensed and condensed. And so then when somebody uses a few of these phrases in a sentence, it could be potentially describing like a multitude of things, but yet depending on the tonality and the context in which that word is being said, that is how you know what it's referring to. So then you have to essentially immediately pick up on all the context clues of what's surrounded by, right? When that's a word like Riz is being said. I find it interesting. I mean, my schizo ass kind of likes it because it shorthands large swaths of detail that I would find otherwise cumbersome. But I don't know, maybe I mean, for when it comes to like casual or quick information relaying, especially online. Even a sound that someone makes, the associated sound that someone might make when saying something, or responding to something, or reacting to something, can be turned into a word. And then I forgot the actual name for, what's the name for the technical name for when a word like bang, pop, whatever. There's a word for that. I can't remember it. For the like kind of words you would see in a comic book or manga. They're off to the sides, representing sounds that are being. It's not an onomatopoeia. I don't think it's that. I think that's something else. Is it? No, it's not that. I repeatedly asked people for substantive feedback on their comprehension internal reaction to something I've said or written. It's extremely rare that anyone can define what they understood. Oh, it is. Okay, I had it. Okay, cool. Onomatopoeia. Cool. Yeah. And like an onomatopoeia could be turned into a word that is then used like a. It could be both used as a noun and an adjective, and a verb even. It's just fucking without very little alteration. I mean, for the purposes of just like casual communication, I guess it doesn't seem like the worst thing possible. Perhaps it's the way it's being used and implemented that makes this brain rot so I guess detrimental to the youth or whatever, or what it's considered to be. I find it amusing, and I find it unfortunately I find that it's being like the idea of it is interesting, but it's being used it's being intermingled with like already a boring interpersonal and pretty standard quote-unquote normie concerns about reality and relationships and connections to other human beings in ways that I often could care less. Or didn't I've asked that words like creep or sick or such means on a social context or a personal one? I think. Yeah, so, like, I mean, I grew up when we were using sick as a positive thing. That was sick. Made no fucking sense. At least, look, I'll give the modern brain rot language stuff one benefit. At least the words actually aren't just like they're actually like words that are directly associated to something to some degree that makes sense in a larger context. But it's funny because like it requires a certain amount of lore to really understand it, but then I guess it becomes a problem when the lore attached becomes forgotten, and then the word is merely used to represent something and the associated meaning is gone. Maybe that's the problem. Tight, exactly. That was tight. All right. I mean, something being tight it'd be either very enjoyable or very, very uncomfortable, if not dangerous. Like a rope around your neck. Tight. Be pretty bad. I guess it depends on who you ask. Oh, Don. Don't pat yourself on the back too hard. Kidding. Let me see here. Oh, I got magenta. Neat. Let me take off the server deafening. Here we go. And what is up, magenta? How may I help you? Not sure if you can hear me. Okay, maybe they're having some audio issues or something.
Hey, how's
There we
it going?
go. Okay, now I can hear you just fine. It's going fairly well. Just, I mean, all things
Oh
considered.
shit.
But yeah. Gonna get off this fucking, oh, well, there it goes. And we're back.
Oh shit! I had tab muted.
No, it's all good. No, but
Yeah.
yeah, things are okay on my side of things. I'm gonna get off this ADHD medication I'm on, um, because it's having some very strange detrimental effects on my mind. So I'll talk
Oh,
about.
what
It's
kind of
it's
effect?
making me like incredibly irritable and annoyed by things that I'd otherwise be pretty stoic about. And it's not like important shit. It's like really stupid shit. Like my annoyance threshold um, is like has been decreasing over time because of I think this medication. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like putting you on edge and then giving you
Hmm.
like putting your brain in a tight spot.
Yeah, tight spot. Um, but yeah, it's been making it so that if like something just annoying happens, like that, like normally I'd be like, why didn't they just do that? Like I just I have this impulse to just be like, what are you fucking stupid? Like that. Like I just have this impulse that pops up, and then I'm like, what the fuck? Like I don't care about this that much. Like it's whatever. Why am I getting so irritated? And that along with some other side effects that are digestion wise, metabolism stuff. Uh, but yeah, the creepiest one is the added kind of like bad temperament that it's causing me to have. It's just more effort to have to like manage it, and it feels artificial too. Like it feels like I'm self-aware enough of the goings-ons inside my mind that I can feel an artificial like uh, I guess chemical symptom that is impacting my like feelings and behavior. Right? Pretty sensitive to that. So yeah, because I'll compare the level of annoyance that I'm feeling with something to the levels of annoyance I'd previously felt with the same thing, and it's just too much of a jump. And there isn't. I can't quite figure out what's causing it outside of this change in medication. Um, yeah, it was pretty scary. Pretty scary to feel that angry for like the most absurd reasons.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any experience with ADHD meds, but I
Mhm.
do with antidepressants, and they certainly put me out of whack a lot of the time and put me on edge.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of
Mm.
that stuff happens for like the first few weeks, which is pretty normal. That's why I wasn't thinking too much about it. But I'm like 6 weeks into this Kelbury, and it is. Some of the other side effects have subsided, but this one is not subsiding. Um,
Mm.
and it's supposed to be a non-stimulant ADHD medication, but whatever. Anyway, do you have any thoughts on the discussion about brain rot, language, brain rot culture, ideas, anything else that's often brought up on the web?
I mean, I've sort of missed a bit of it.
Mm.
Um, would you be able to fill me in a bit?
Well, just like I don't. Well, I don't know how familiar you are with like a lot of the common terms that have been memed into infinity at this point, where it's just fit, drip, riz, and so on.
Oh, you mean like the Gen Alpha
Gen
slang?
Alpha slang, yeah. I was talking
Yeah.
about how like people are acting like it's like this threat to um, like I guess culture and human society or something. It's like,
I think it's just another scare. It's like, I mean, you get similar like words in like I don't know,
well,
what's
I
it?
said cool was the original, like one of the most sort of continuing generation to generation brain rot word. That it's like one of the earliest brain rot words. Would be cool because it makes no fucking sense to use it in the way it's being used.
Mm.
and it has so many things packed into it that it could potentially make the use of it kind of pointless in many ways.
So my sort of general take on it is that it's a way of sort of breaking out of normal culture in a way. I mean,
Yeah.
like you get it in like jazz and singing, you know,
Mhm.
like scat singing and
Yep.
shit. You know, it's like just nonsense kind of syllables.
That means
So
it's like a
like I don't,
secret language.
yeah, like it just doesn't have any meaning. But I think people are panicking because it's like, oh my god, you know,
I don't
it's like
understand my kids.
oh, speak normally. You know, like you
Mhm.
have to act in this kind of very predictable. You have to go to school and you have to get a job and you have to pay your taxes and you have to, you know, walk in this way and hold yourself in this
Wagey
way and
cagey,
dress
all that
like
good stuff.
this. Yeah, and I just think it's like kids have always pushed back against their parents in many ways and kind of try to find their own
Yeah, it's the same shit that's been
own.
going on forever.
Yeah, yeah, it's nothing different. So like the whole panic around it and the derogatory tone shit.
Yeah, I
It's
literally
just
see YouTube videos
stupid.
popping up in my feed that are like brain rot and why you should be worried. Brain rot, the end of like, civilization. I'm like, come on. I was actually talking about how I kind of like I'm 40 years old and I kind of like but I vibe with shit. I like novelty because of the ADHD and other reasons. And so like I like some of these fucking dumb words. Um they're stupid, but they pack in even more stuff into them through word association and shit like that. And some of the words can be used both positively and negatively, and so it requires you to understand or evaluate the context in which it's actually being used in order to determine how it's being used. Because it doesn't have a singular meaning, and it doesn't even have a singular like tone or feeling associated with it. It can be both bad and good. Um, and I don't know. I find that I find that kind of shorthand pretty intuitive. I don't get confused by it, but that might just be my bias because of my, like I said, ADHD ass. Um, so yeah, like the same word being used to say something is bad and good is kind of fun. And it's kind of like I was explaining how even the word cool doesn't do that, and cool already packs a lot of shit in. But certain words that are used by Gen Alpha, they pack even more into a single word. It's fucking weird. And then I think you're right. It's just about having a language that a previous generation can't understand or has trouble understanding, and then
Yeah,
yeah, breaking away from them. I don't know.
yeah, I think yeah, no panic. It's just necessary. It's just
Yeah, I I don't know if it's my penchant for the absurd, but I found that like I I sort of vibe a lot more in many ways with this sort of terminally online, mentally ill culture more than I did with the people and things that I grew up with, like in the first uh, 20 plus years of my life, which is weird. That this level of just kind of almost like nihilistic absurdity sometimes I'm just more comfortable around than uh, all the cookie cutter I grew up in the 90s and even the early 2000s. I don't know, it's weird.
yeah.
I wonder why that
I
is.
mean,
I'm working in reverse here.
yeah. I mean, I feel like the only problem with like being terminally online is like the um mental health effects of like not going outside and getting sunlight.
Yeah, they
Because
got they
I
got
think there's
UV
like
blasters now for that. Like literally, like there's like shit you can put
seriously.
on your fucking desk. that will give you like the same shit as like sunlight now. It's pretty funny.
Well, and getting up and moving and exercise and like the
Yeah.
general kind of like,
You're like, it's cool. I
you
got
know,
I got a standing desk and I got my
yeah,
I could you could have a standing desk and like and some weights to the side of you that you could fuck with while remaining online. It's like,
yeah.
okay, so you're
I,
doing exercise, you're getting sunlight. eh, um, Let me see here. Uh, well, yeah, we need human touch. Most humans do. So I guess oh yeah, but once they can eventually replace that, that's gonna be weird. Especially if like you go Ender's Game type shit, or sorry, Ready Player One. That's what I meant, like Ready Player One type shit, where like tactile stimuli can be felt, and it will be you won't be able to tell the difference. Your brain and body won't be able to tell the difference. Um, you're gonna have
yeah.
like synthetic pheromones being pumped into your brain.
But I don't know. I definitely feel like it's more like physiological than like purely mental. I mean, like obviously, like that's connected to like your brain and how you feel and so on. But I think like the material condition is kind of more so than the mental one. Because I think there's many things to kind of fuck up your brain and go down rabbit holes in like the real world. I mean, like
Yeah, people have
you
been
don't
doing
need,
it
you
long before
don't
the internet.
yeah you don't you don't need to be online to kind of do that. So.
Yeah, to become a fucking like self-destructive rabbit hole chaser of the worst kind. Yeah.
Yeah, you just need to like
Chasing the
go down the
dragon, as they
street
say.
and speak to some of the preachers with the microphones down in Manchester
Yeah,
and
well,
know
oh yeah, you'll find some of that. They probably
do
don't even know what Reddit
do,
is
do yeah, do
or anything.
crystals and Reiki and join a cult and like be separated from your family and
Good times.
lose your mind.
Let's see here. The problem isn't the word; it's more about the inability to translate the meaning or even indicate knowledge of a meaning, and it works in both directions, creating a just generational communication gap. Yeah, but you can just like have a discussion or research it and study it for maybe like an hour, and you'll probably figure out a lot. But I guess that's too much for a lot of people to want to do or whatever, or to do like to understand their kids better. Oh God, oh no, how terrible, how inconvenient to have to adapt to something. Um,
But I feel like here it's a mistake to put like the map before the territory, in that like I think with language you should focus on how language is used in everyday circumstances.
mhm.
So and that's like the true meaning of it. Like the dictionary definition or whatever doesn't really matter. Like that should follow
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, the
Yeah, that's
territory.
why that's why I just as much as I don't have a problem with the word cool, I do not have a problem with the word Riz.
Yeah.
To me, they are the same as in that context that you're referring to. And in fact, some of them are actually better at expressing what some of those older slang words previously were attempting to do. Um, and what's further interesting too is that what if the slang doesn't doesn't change generationally anymore, right? What if slang changes based on uh like present day parameters as they alter? And I'm talking just slang. I'm not talking like because like it would be interesting to have like a separation between like language that is used for conveying like more complex information, and then obviously you have slang. But it'd be interesting if like I don't know next year uh, there's going to be a new set of words, and the year after that that are going to mean relatively the same thing, but they're changing based on the context of current events and happenstance. Um, that sounds kind of nuts, but it sounds kind of fun to me as well. Yeah. But then again, that would require the individual to be more up to date with current events, even on a sometimes global scale, to keep up with what would be a trend. That's why there's something that I've been thinking about too, like the because they're trying to. There's all this talk about, I don't know how or when it's going to happen, but they want to they're going to get rid of TikTok, right, in the U.S. Like I don't know what other countries are trying to like push forward that. I don't know if like Britain is on board with that kind of stuff. But essentially, they want to like they have all these reasons, Chinese spyware, all this stuff. It's like it's already all over. I mean, got every mobile game, and but they have all these excuses for why they want to remove TikTok. And my conspiratorial ass just goes, oh, so basically the state and corporations want to remove means in which information spreads like wildfire that is often bad for them, because it I think I mentioned in this one stream, but like I'm seeing the youth be more what's the word, socially, geopolitically, um uh sometimes fiscally aware of things because of how the information is spreading on this platform, along with the entertainment and quote unquote brain rot type of shit that's on there, right? So there'll be a certain person has a certain condition, right? Before, during when I was a teenager, if a celebrity got some condition, some rare condition, or has a rare or unique sort of mental health issue or nervous system problem or whatever, it would have just been like an article on a newspaper, and then it would have been like, oh, that's weird, and then that would have been it, right? But now those people can like film their journey and their ups and downs with whatever that is. And because it's being associated to, of course, status stuff, and people like connect to that, and celebrity and everything, they end up inadvertently learning about like a specific type of like medical condition. And then that has like an impact on some of the future decision making, or if there's enough of an uproar about something that is happening that's incorrect to a certain niche community or minority, then you have all these people like complaining and causing problems for people that have an impact on legislation. You have like one video going viral of a person like going, oh, look at this terrible thing that happened, then makes other people go, wait, does that terrible thing happen in my location, associated to that thing, that company, that corporation, that state institution? And then people end up digging into their own localized rabbit holes on the matter, and then more people start posting videos of the same problem, and then now there's a discussion, and now it's all over the fucking internet, and then PR departments are like up in flames, and then change is forced. Like I've seen it happen a few times where certain types of change has been like brute forced because of PR disasters being caused by one person saying the wrong thing at the wrong time, and bringing up the like the questions that needed to be asked about some kind of not so good thing um somebody's doing, so on. Like, I don't know if you've been following it, but um like the power of the celebrity is like is fading like significantly. Um, because because there's so much information available. Even the people that like are masters at crafting a persona, that shit's just coming apart. There's just too much. It's fascinating to me.
Yeah. It's also like people have access to the same channels as well, so like,
Hmm.
if like a celebrity is on Twitter, it's like, okay, well, anyone can create a Twitter account.
Yeah, anybody
It's
can
not
get a
just
Twitter
by
account.
the
Anybody can
TV.
have a Reddit account. Anybody can have a TikTok account.
Yeah. It's not just who's on TV or in films or who can get music published, on like a vinyl record or whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
class specific barriers of entry are like collapsing.
mm,
That's what's so weird. And someone with I don't know, some merit, but sometimes just luck can essentially go from rags to riches, as they say, without the need of a studio, without the need of a mediator or a middleman, without the need of a significant amount of financial assistance to be noticed. I think that's the real threat to and why they would want to get rid of something like TikTok. It isn't this geopolitical nonsense. I mean, because even politicians have a reason why they would want to get rid of something like TikTok because their flaws, their mistakes, their contradictions, their hypocrisy. It's just so easy to catch on film now, and then just post it fucking everywhere.
yeah. I mean, once, TikTok disappears, if it does, then, I think there'll be a clamping down of other platforms, which is sort of already happening, like
Mm-hmm.
in various ways. But I don't know, VPNs.
Well, yeah, yeah, and AI is going to be, I think, used to clamp down even further. They're going to use our safety um, to protect us from
Yeah.
artificially generated false information. We're going to give you the verified source of information that you can trust and has been AI purged or some bullshit like that. So
Hmm.
it's because that even that's causing so many fucking problems because you have like people producing entertainment that would have required a studio with a fucking high end, super high end PC or something. Um, and I just find that really amusing. I think it was I forgot who it was that said it, but somebody talked about how all the ability for AI generated content to become like better and better honed and better at like replacing certain things or is all I don't know how much I agree with it because I am a traditionalist when it comes to some forms of media. I think like you can't like you replicating something like stop motion animation kind of like um I don't know saps the symbolic nature of it, like the work and effort and blood and sweat required to make it happen and do it properly. But it's going to remove even more barriers to entry because then all you need to do is be a good writer. If you're a good writer and you have your pulse on the right things in the right ways, eventually you're just going to fucking uh, produce whatever, and it will pop up when it does. People worry about an oversaturation of media. I think the human mind is pretty capable of parsing out what it wants and doesn't want. That adding more volume is not gonna. It's just gonna add more shit at the bottom, not more shit at the top. I don't know. I'm not worried. Hmm. I think it was the same comment was said about that, about how like people with shitty imaginations and shitty taste are still gonna produce shitty art, even if they have like in their hands like the capability of creating anything they want, right? They wouldn't. A lot of people won't have the creativity or the capacity to like actually produce anything of any like interest or worth to anyone outside of themselves, maybe. Which I think that would be the most like threatening thing to creativity that something like AI could have is people
Mm.
like creating their own content that's exclusively to feed into their own immediate needs and wants, and then like never experiencing content that pushes back against that or gives them a new experience because they just want to keep eating the same thing. Um, so people doing that to themselves could probably potentially be like one of the most detrimental things.
Yeah. I mean, so I've got a lot of thoughts here. I need to try and like unravel them. So like the I think with technology changing, because this is sort of what we're talking about, I feel like the
Well, it's already shaping culture, but yeah.
what's 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 the skills that are valuable are changing as a result, right?
Hmm.
So for like an artist, the skills are less probably less related to like technical ability to like actually
Mm.
paint something, let's say, or have like good brush technique and like be able to like,
Hmm.
I don't know, clean your brushes and like mix paint and stuff, like, you know, like it, because you can, but more to do with like the actual overall vision
And knowledge
and
on how to like,
yeah,
yeah,
and knowledge. So like it's a lot more the area of focus is like a lot more like concentrated maybe.
yeah.
But then what I feel that then does or can do is create like a tendency to, well, I think like nowadays I feel like, I mean, art needs an audience, right? Like fundamentally.
Mm.
And I think like an artistic practice should take place within a culture and adapt to meet the needs or of the particular audience. But I worry whether that, like how that's changing.
Yeah.
I think
I'm worried about
that's
how it'll
yeah.
atomize it, like actually
Yeah.
dismantle any kind of consistent culture type stuff because
Yeah.
entertainment could then be atomized to the individual and their wants and needs. Um,
Yeah. Like yeah, like I'd hate to live in a world where like art is disseminated via upvotes and downvotes primarily, which is sort of already happening, like, you know,
well, thankfully, I
to
avoid that
the
one. I found ways to avoid it. I fuck with
yeah.
I've masterfully fucked with my algo on like at least two different platforms to the point where it just feeds me nothing but like strange unwatched shit. So I've actually been enjoying that thoroughly. Mm. But yeah, I mean it is scary to think that people can become perpetually trapped in some kind of um creative echo chamber that they could because they can manufacture their own entertainment that they want how they want all the time. Like they won't. they won't go beyond whatever bounds they've made for themselves.
Yeah.
That's
And in a
scary.
way it's not, in a way it's not even really a culture. And
Mm-mm.
I guess not in like the sense of people convening in a space and you know, bouncing ideas off
Yeah,
and, you know, performing or whatever. It's more,
it's like
yeah,
it's
mechanistic.
it's oh, what did you call it? What did you say at the end?
Like
It's
mechanistic
mechanistic. Yeah, I was
yeah.
thinking of it. It's like um it's like a digital hedonism.
Yeah.
In the sense that like, oh, I just want to make things that make me feel good, not necessarily things that like produce new thoughts and values and meaning and purpose, but just make feel good and not make feel bad. Um, like for example, one of my favorite things to do is to show people media that I found interesting. Not necessarily that I thought was just good, but that I found interesting. And I like that people that there exist people that are receptive to wanting to experience things that they would normally not gear themselves toward, or that they would like choose for themselves, right? And then upon doing that, they either discover a new thing they dislike, or they discover a new thing that they potentially could enjoy in their own way that they had previously never had the opportunity to think about because it took an outside force to introduce it. But if you have content, if you could start making just whatever content you want to entertain you, then what there's just going to be a unlikelihood of people wanting to like step outside of those boundaries, or even the thought of like, imagine you create the perfect thing that you think is so great, and then you're like, hey, I want to show this other person this thing. They're going to be like, well, why do I want to see your thing? My thing's already perfect for me. What's the point? Um, that's crazy. Oh Jesus, what it would do to sexuality would be a travesty. Oh my God. Oh no, that's
Yeah,
bad.
I mean, I think I think that's sort of already happening. Not gonna lie.
Mm, when it comes to all this stuff in general, or when it comes to sexuality.
Um, just everything in general, but also sexuality, I think.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, not everyone, but there's definitely people who are like, I don't know, a little bit fucked up
well,
in, you
yeah,
know,
well, absolutely.
in that they've developed very like specific tastes, let's say, or something like this, or
Um,
interests.
what's the word? Paraphilias and stuff. Well,
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Or
it's
just or just odd things like, I don't know. You just, yeah, like, but yeah, kind of like
yeah,
that. Or just
yeah.
particular like fashion, or like, you know, just all of this like like on like a micro level. I can see that sort of playing out already.
One of the things a long time ago, somebody had said it was just basically discussing that about how a fetish is something you like and can enjoy in conjunction with a variety of other acts or things. A philia becomes a need. Um, so essentially, you need that to be present for you to even achieve any kind of stimulation. And then it becomes a need. If the parameter is not fulfilled, then you know, and so then it becomes problematic in that sense. And so then I was just thinking about like how people could feed too deeply into things and turn it into a need much easier with something like the internet and then eventually AI generated content of that kind. Yeah, that's really bad.
Mm.
I didn't think about that too much before.
Mm. I mean, I do just kind of, there is a sense in which, I don't know, it feels harder for people to meet another person that they actually click with, let's say. Like I feel like it feels, I don't know. I could be wrong, it's just a general um
Like
feeling.
to
But
satisfy a partner's needs or something because of the specificity of like um fetishes that the internet creates or for that person
no,
at the time
I'm
or
speaking more general. I'm speaking
oh
more generally,
okay
like friend, like even on the level of like
like friendship
friendship
or
or
something
or but yeah, relationships or however. Just
uh,
because I feel people are so, like, we're all like um I think there's less of a shared um,
narrative or
narrative, yeah, or something like this.
mm. It's funny, one of the shared narratives that seems to become prominent is that we all feel like shit. uh, I find that kind of funny but kind of grim. But anyway, we went off into the weeds. I don't know how I went from brain rot alpha speak to this. I never know how I get to places. But um, the one thing I had mentioned, regarding like the use of information spreading and TikTok and whatever. I had a thought, and I think I've unfortunately lost it about how it could be potentially positively used. But it's gone like everything else. That's unfortunate. It'll return to me after the stream. It always happens, and I'm like, that's what I wanted to mention. Just put a little seed of optimism, which I rarely possess. I don't think ambivalence is the same as optimism. Oh, well, I think might be wrapping it up here, but trying to. Oh, I really had this thought that I was like, that's something. It's just it's on the tip of my tongue, but it had to do is okay. So that then you can spread information and those echoes are created. Ah, yes. Yeah. Here it is. Uh, some of um, some of the like problems or things that people have discussed, in philosophical circles and political circles, ideological circles, like for example, something like class consciousness, right, as it's often been referred to, um, or being aware of these like class to class manipulations and exploitations and stuff. Those are things that like oddly, um, stuff like TikTok are inadvertently shedding light on to a significant degree, and um, it's weird to think that uh, social media can be just as destructive as it could be generating of some positive things. Even if I don't really participate in it much, I'm just seeing like the effects it has on certain things, like say crime cases, right? Uh, corruption cases, anything like that. It stops being a niche interest for a small group of people, and it becomes like something everyone is talking about. Uh, Currently, I think one of the major ones is like the situation with P Diddy, right? It's creating all these memes and everything, but also it's putting people on edge about um, and rethinking all their it's like this whole "don't meet your heroes" type situation, because they're seeing a variety of people that maybe they grew up, even if they're older, they grew up admiring or thinking or they were the pinnacle of like what a human being could become or achieve or something. And so much of like when one collapses, so many others begin around them begin to collapse because of how quickly information spreads. So now I've found it amusing to see a multitude of celebrities scrambling like cockroaches with the charges and the case and the information coming out from the lawyers involved about how there's names of varieties of celebrities and so on involved to various degrees, uh, to the point where they were just like, I don't know, part of some kind of orgy, or they were actually involved in his exploitive sex type involvement, and how connected it can maybe be to things like what's it called, sex slavery and all this sort of shit. I kind of like seeing the the roaches sort of spread when you turn the lights on. Um, and without these types of platforms, I don't think it's possible for this to be done. Yeah, I don't think it is possible. Even pre social media type world, because I was like a teenager when the internet's barely started like becoming even a thing. I saw its eventual rise to and just like this growth and expansion. I went through all of it, um, from its advent to its current present day. And one of the things that it's been doing is it's been making it harder and harder for money and power to allow human beings to obfuscate their darkest perversions and behaviors and more malevolent intentions. It's interesting. Mm-hmm. Then again, I have a bias because like I like to watch pompous, self-aggrandizing, self-righteous things burn. I like hypocrisy uh, causing the discovery of hypocrisy causing even institutional detrimental, even to myself, events. Because like when too much hypocrisy is exposed too quickly, then even institutions can fall, and that could be not good in a variety of ways. Huh. But like you said, they're cracking down, so will they be able to? That's the question. And when will they have to expose themselves by using force? Useful tool for getting the word out about people in power. All the more reason to manipulate and control the narratives. I mean, Well, yeah, that's why China has its own social media. It's very, very much under state control in a variety of ways. But even they're having trouble keeping their shit together and keeping it because it's just too much. There's too many avenues in which one can retaliate when it comes to information exchange. One of my favorite things right now online is the talk about how can you be pirating anything if you don't own any of it? Or wait, if buying is not owning. I find that meme really fun. It's like, well, okay, well then pirating's fine because buying is not owning something anymore. Like if I buy a video game on a platform, if I buy a movie, if I buy my entertainment, it's not me owning it. So how can me pirating it be a problem? So I've been finding that pretty goddamn amusing. Academic piracy, I think, is pretty amazing and hilarious. So even those institutions are like having some trouble. Universities, things like that. Some of the money making schemes that academia has set up for itself is it's getting punched and kicked in the balls. But I'm not a fool in the sense that like I just think, oh, this is so cool, give it to the man or some bullshit like that. I am fully aware of the consequences of uh, a shaky ground in which a nation or culture or human beings when they're put on shaky ground. It's not all rainbows and freedom, and it's usually like a lot of just horror. So humans don't really like to take middle grounds. They don't really like to be contextual. What feels good right now? Anyway, guys, it's 8:30. It's been an hour and a half or so. It's usually how long I run this thing. If I'm extra weird, it's a combination of probably some sleep deprivation and this medication. So, apologies if that's what is happening. But hopefully, I can get off this medication and enjoy things again because it's been making my anhedonia like that much worse. Ugh. Anyway, guys, personal note, I really appreciate anybody that helps me out on Patreon and donates there or donates on PayPal or whatever. But just so you know, if you are a schizoid and you need some discussion, coaching, guidance, I'm not a professional, but I am someone that I feel at this point uh, a lot of schizoids could turn to for some advice and some help. Um, I've managed and navigated a bunch of aspects of my own existence as someone that grew up as a schizoid to some pretty positive places. I am learning to touch my version of grass, not their version, my version of grass. And it's been pretty swell, I gotta say. And so, yeah, I occasionally have people hit me up and go, hey, can we talk for an hour or two? And I say, oh, yeah, but I have to charge something because I really can't. I have too many people that like want me, like write me an email and then they want me like to read their essay and then like respond to it. And I'm like, I literally don't have the time. I cannot. I work a full-time job. I cannot do that. But if somebody wants to do something like that and compensate me for it, then I can justify it. And right now, work is a little shaky because apparently I do contract work, like AI bullshit contract work, and the problem with that is that this time of year, like the amount of work available starts decreasing, and bills still have to be paid. So sketchy. It gets a little sketchy. So if I could contribute my time to other things like helping Zoids, that have the income to spend on something like that, then I welcome you. It will not be a problem. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. Thank you, Magenta, for showing up. Thank you to anyone listening, and thank you to anyone that watches this as a VOD. And I will be seeing you guys. I don't know that I'll be streaming on Thursday. I have actually like 2 people lined up that want my, I guess, coaching that evening. So I think I might have to prioritize that because I need more on the ground individual to individual experience with helping Zoids talk through shit. All right. As usual, when day is dark, always remember, happy day.